roundtable. And I want to invite your participation to remain exactly where you are because I do believe that today's topic will prove to be informative and prayerfully inspiring as well. Now, before we begin to talk about the obvious and apparent topic that ought to claim our attention today, let me spend just a moment inviting the participants and our panelists an opportunity to say hello. So let's begin on the east end of Long Island. Good morning, Overseer.
Good morning, everybody. God bless you. I am Overseer Diane Seaman. I am pastor of Good Samaritan Ministries in Central Reach and Port Jefferson, and I'm delighted to be here on this day, and God bless all of you.
God bless you, Overseer. So happy to have you. From there, we want to go to my colleague, friend, and neighbor right here on Great Neck Road in Amityville, New York. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, everybody. Blessings and peace. I am Bishop Walter Willie, pastor, the founder of the Prayer Tabernacle Church of God in Christ right here in Amityville.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And from there, we're going to go to the hills of North Carolina. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning, Bishop, and to my colleagues. I'm Reverend Ronald Grant, retired pastor from New York, living in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And it's just good to be back here. A week ago today, I was totally oblivious to what was going on in the world because I was
Ooh.
on an operating table.
Oh.
And I was undergoing surgery from about 8:15 or so. I just came with the testimony that if it had not been, the Lord was on my side. I do remember, and just as they were talking and making preparations, they all the tubes and everything else, having conversation, almost like how's the family and so on and so forth. And then they said, okay, let's get to work. And I was just about to say, hey, I hear you. And then I didn't hear them no more. God be praised. It's good to be back.
Good to have you back. Good to have you back, Pastor. Let's jump now to the pastor of the oldest African American congregation here on Long Island. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Bishop, and to my brothers and sisters. Greetings from the oldest Black congregation here on Long Island. I'm Pastor Keith Hayward, the proud pastor of Bethel AME Church in Copiague, New York. Greetings.
Greetings, sir. And rounding out the round table is our good friend and colleague from the Washington, D.C. area. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Bishop. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Stephanie Stratford, and I am the lead servant of Ecclesia International, and we are headquartered in Gambriels, Maryland.
Amen. And friends, I am Andy C. Lewter of the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral of Amityville, New York, and the Queen's Ministry of New York City. Absent today is Pastor Norman Scott. I had an opportunity to speak with him. He is attending to his wife who has a doctor's appointment today. And we are certainly keeping Lady Scott in our prayers. We'll also want to give a shout out to Bishop Jeffrey Bowens from the Buffalo area, who is not with us as well. Well, friends, today, what is both obvious and apparent, and if you give me an opportunity to share the contents of my screen today, what is obvious and apparent is our close proximity to the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, most celebrations that will honor his memory will take place this weekend, preferably on Saturday. There are a number of events that's taking place then. And then, of course, the Monday following his birthday is the traditional day of celebration. And so the 19th, the entire country will be celebrating the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And so I have taken his picture and a collage of the major events that brought him to our attention, not the least of which was the Montgomery bus boycott, the March on Washington, the sermon of Dr. King, his anti-Vietnam sermon in 1967 at the Riverside Church in New York City. Of course, there is the march from Selma to Montgomery, the capital of Alabama. And then, of course, the tragic loss of Dr. King on April 4th of 1968. There will be a number of tributes and services that will honor his memory. And so we thought today that we would take a look, and I'm yielding primarily to Bishop Walter Willie, who leads a very ingenious tribute and celebration of Dr. King in partnership with Amistad, and I'll let him talk about that. That's the Black lawyers here on Long Island, and they're doing something pretty incredible to honor the memory of Dr. King. And so I want to yield to Bishop Willie so that he can tell us what is going on in that regard. Before I do that, I do want to insert this shameless plug. Pastor Keith Hayward is with us, and last week, right around this time, I visited his office. I've just completed a pretty in-depth, substantive book on Richard Allen, who, in addition to being the founder and the establishmentarian of the African Methodist Episcopal Church for the wider, especially Black church community, he is the first Black bishop in America. So all the rest of us who wear the title of bishop owe a debt to Richard Allen, because if it had not been for him, many of us would not be called what we are called. And so we honor him as the first operating bishop here in the United States who looks like us. And so that book is complete, and I was able to hand deliver a copy of that book into the hand of Keith Hayward, who is a member of that tradition, and I'm sure he'll talk about that just a little later on. He shared with me certain insights that I was not aware of as it relates to Richard Allen, and obviously are absent from the book. So I guess in the revised version or the second version, there is some additional information that I can include as a result of the collaboration that I've had with Pastor Hayward. But Bishop Willie, tell us how your congregation and your ministry and the group that you have a great deal of influence with will be celebrating the life of Dr. King.
Bless you, Bishop. Amistad is the Suffolk County, Nassau County Black Lawyers Association here. And what they do for the last 10 or 15 years at our church, they give back to the community free services to our people to share with them in honor of Dr. King, what he meant to this country. As we know that Dr. King has served, dealt with justice for our country. He was the one that shared why it was important that all people be equally respected. He stood, marched, talked about nonviolence, and yet we know the sad part about it that every year our country is diluting his day each year. But we as African American people should not never forget the impact he had on this country. So I'm gonna start. What they do is they, in his honor, they give to the Black communities free for bono service. It's like 10 to 15 lawyers come every year. They ship the people, give them information how to better their life from a legal standpoint. I think it's wonderful. And we tell people every year, take advantage of their service because they try to help out our people. This year, they want to specialize in wills, trust, power of attorney, things that most of our people do not have in order. Many of our people don't think it's needed until something happened. And when it happened, they run into a glitch. And so they try to avoid from making a common mistake that a lot of families have, especially when they have sickness or some death in their household.
My, yes, indeed. And when and where will this be taking place, Bishop?
I will be at Prayer Tabernacle right after we finish with Dr. Hayward on Dr. King's celebration, his church, we go to my church at 1 o'clock, 1 to 4. 1 to 4, 3550 Great Neck Road, Amityville. It's free. Just come and be part of it. Take advantage of the service of Amasai.
And thank you for mentioning the service that is always held at Bethel AME. Let me yield to Pastor Keith Hayward so that he can talk to us about the event that has become a mainstay in our community. It's one of the staple events here on Long Island. Pastor Hayward, do you want to talk a bit about?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bishop. Also, thank you, Bishop Willie, because the service that Amasai renders at Prayer Tabernacle has blessed a number of people in our community, especially when it comes to wills and trust. And a few of my members were blessed last year with that service. Thank you so much, sir, for keeping that going on. At Bethel Church, we are this year focusing on reclaiming our heritage. With what's going on in our country and the delusion of our history, our schools are not teaching the truth. One of my members had told me that, Pastor, they were telling us in social studies that we wanted to come here. I said, no, that's not true. That's not true. So I got with a few of our main minds of intelligence when it comes to Black history and our culture and discussed this curriculum in our school districts. See how can we counter this? I want to thank Bishop Willie because he's been front and center with the school board and our issues in our community. So this year we decided we need to reclaim our heritage and teach our children the truth. So our speaker is 20 years old. Brilliant young lady. And we do have the school band and the school choir coming. And this year we decided, let's honor those who teach our children. So we're going to honor the band leader and the choir director. But this young lady who's 20 years old is very, very good and is a researcher. And when she found out what was going on in the school district, she came to me and said, Pastor, this is not right. How can we address this? So I said to her, I'll give you a platform. You share your comments and your sentiments. So on Monday, 10 a.m., we'll celebrate Martin Luther King at Bethel Church. Looking forward to it with great anticipation. The oldest person I'm using is on our platform this morning, who has the privilege of doing our synopsis and the benediction on Monday. That is the senior bishop, Bishop Andy C. Lewter. That's his platform every year to give a synopsis of the day and dismiss us. So looking forward to it with great anticipation. But let me also say, this book is powerful. Bishop, you hit the nail on the head, man. This is some good stuff. So everyone who's a bishop needs to read this book. It's powerful. The bishop is very thorough, and he has not missed a beat with the history of the AME Church and our founder, Richard Allen. One thing that I did mention to him that Richard Allen is not the first elected bishop of our Zion. Because he's the founder, we made him the first consecrated bishop. So our bishops are elected, then consecrated. So we go through a process where we elect bishops every 4 years, according to the number of bishops that are needed. We never go above. We only need 21. So so if, for example, 2028, we're gonna need 3 new bishops. That's it. So we elect 3 new bishops. In 32, we need 5. We elect 5. We never go above 21. Well, once you're a bishop for life. Once they retire, they still remain bishops. But when you retire, you retire. You're inactive. We call on you as the need may arise. So we don't have a plethora of bishops in our church. It's 21, and that's it. Thanks be to God, because it's very expensive. It's very expensive. Take care of the bishop. But thanks be to God for the book that the bishop has written. I think I'm on page, I think I'm on page 51 now, Bishop. Yeah. I told you to start reading this on the train. Very good, very good, very good, very good book. Richard Allen's birthday is on Valentine's Day, February 14th. He bought his freedom for $2,000. Now, can you imagine $2,000 back then? And then he bought his brother's freedom as well. Traveled with Bishop Esbury. Bishop, you did some good work, man. I don't know where you got the information from, but it's some good work. Bishop Esbury, who is the leader of the American Methodists in the country during that time, white man, took Allen under his wing and started to introduce him and expose him to the church outside of Delaware and Pennsylvania. And that lit a fire under Allen. Also with the racism that was taking place in our country. I thank God for St. George Church in Philadelphia that kicked us out while we were praying. So when they were at the altar praying, now the blacks were relegated to the balcony. And it was time for altar call. And the blacks went down after the whites. And there were some whites that were still left, had not got to the altars yet. And the usher went to Allen and said, "You can't pray here." And Allen said, "When we finish praying, we won't bother you no more," and walked out. Most of them walked out. A few stayed and went back to the balcony. Allen purchased a blacksmith shop and moved it to 6th and Lombard in Philadelphia, which is now the site of our mother church, Mother Bethel Cathedral in Philadelphia. So our history is phenomenal. During the yellow fever plague, it was Allen's society. They were carrying people to the hospital in wheelbarrows because there were no motorized ambulance. Everything was horse and buggy driven, but they used wheelbarrows to carry folk to the hospital. We have a phenomenal history. So Bishop, I'll be on page 100 by Wednesday. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this reading.
And I think there are 300, a little more than 300 pages that make up the book.
I need one more week. I'll be done.
Let me yield and invite Overseer Carr to say hello to us. She has arrived, and we are grateful and thankful for her presence. Good morning, Overseer. You're still on mute. Okay. While driving, she may not be able to unmute herself, but I do want to acknowledge her presence. So let me invite the remainder of the panel today. Martin Luther King's birthday will be upon us this week. We are nearly, watch this, beloved, 60 years removed from the tragic assassination of the same. My question to us today is, how real and relevant is Dr. King to us today, 60 years later? I know we have a performer, a ritual, a ceremony, a routine that we do all across the country in his name. But to what extent does Dr. King remain relevant in our community? And how are we ensuring, watch this, beloved, that his memory is retained by the current and future generations of those who did not have the benefit or the honor of having seen him themselves? It's almost as though we are where the first post-apostolic fathers were. We are producing a generation that did not see Dr. King, did not hear Dr. King. You know, I was in my teens when Dr. King died, so I remember him. But there's a whole lot of folk who did not have that experience, just like Irenaeus and Ignatius and Tertullian and Clement did not see Jesus. They had the task of carrying on the work of Jesus. So, for the generations that did not see Dr. King, how do they carry on the work of Dr. King? Anybody in any order?
Well, growing up in Washington, D.C., I see that beautiful statue that they have built. Um, I think, 15 when he was really relevant. But believe it or not, it has only been since I have become so much older and in this recent administration that I even the more understand and appreciate his work and the work of those that sacrificed, our white allies that walked with him, as well as the rich and the poor of our ethnicity. Being in DC, we're not a state, we're a federal city, and there was this false sense of, I guess, safety and maybe even privilege as Black people during that time, because we were considered to be chocolate city and had a sense that we were ruling, not understanding systemic racism. And what I do, because my oldest children are Gen Xers, born in 71 and 73. And then I have 5 millennials. So they had no real life experience. And especially the millennials have enjoyed the results of those who have gone ahead. And so what I do personally is I talk to the young people in my family. I try to get them to understand that there's a level of expectation. There were sacrifices that were made in order for them to have the privileges that they have, and being able to advance the way that they have, compared to the struggles that we unknowingly, I will say for my generation, unknowingly uh, had been going through, but not realizing, because um, Dr. Grant, my father, is a North Carolinian. He's from Durham. And so I'm sure that he has some stories that he did not share in terms of his experiences. My mother was from the metropolitan area, and they teased her not about not being a country girl, and there's some benefits and privileges that come with that, but then there's some cultural things that we have not experienced and enjoyed. So in a nutshell, for me, I just honor him and his comrades, and thank God for the work that they have done, to the point that they're not just on platforms with microphones. They laid down their lives for their friends.
Thank you for that, Doctor. Amen. Amen. Anybody else?
Bishop, you mentioned you were a teenager at the time of Dr. King's assassination. I was 1 month to the day discharged from the United States Army.
Wow.
March the 4th, returning from Vietnam.
Wow.
When that happened. So I hadn't even unpacked my stuff yet. And as a result of that, I was really, for all practical purposes, I acknowledge now more than I did then, one angry Black young man.
Wow.
At the whole system. And as I continue to grow, I see now even what's happening in our school system, how they're snatching opportunities for us to tell the truth about ourselves, and threatening and funding the whole works. But one of the things that we still have left is our platform to keep this truth going. We will be passing the baton shortly, each one of us. The question is, do we take advantage of teaching those who have not been taught by the system about our history, our heritage, as well as our hope? And it's very important, the history, any people that have lost their history are lost people. You just don't know. Heritage, they can change everything to the point where some of us now don't do what we used to do because it's not culturally acceptable. Uh, and of course, by changing your name, the whole history, the point is, it's going to be up to us, this generation, I should say, left to us. Because if we leave without doing what we can, then this education process of our history will stop. And it has in many ways been retarded because the school system is not teaching, the homes are not teaching. We still have the historic black colleges, which they can't mess with at this point, in terms of history. But then we also have the church, which we don't use that platform, unfortunately. That was always the platform, and now some of us think it's politics and religion ought not mix, and we listen to that. But if you listen to, we watch biblically. I mean, the first urban renewal project, you see all that biblically about Jesus' ministry, and you're going to tell us now to not use the platform. Now, you don't want to relegate it to all of that, but it's real. Anything that affects God's people, we have their attention. We as leaders ought to share the information. So I say we ought to get involved in that. Now, it bothers me as I close, once a year, all the folk from all walks of life will assemble in different places and talk about, let us keep his dream alive or make his dream real. Stop it. All year you don't, but when voting day you don't. But now in January, we want to come and, hand in hand, heart to heart,
Kumbaya.
and we shall overcome. Yeah. Anyway, I said enough of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend.
May I? I was 8 years old, sitting in my parents' bedroom watching the news that Martin Luther King had been assassinated. Had heard of him, but didn't understand who he was. So I went to the kitchen. My sister was cooking dinner, and I said to her, "Some guy just got killed." And so when I shared with her that it was Dr. King, because I had to go back, I was 8 years old, I couldn't remember who it was. I said, Dr. Martin Luther King was killed today. I didn't know what assassination meant. And my sister started crying. I'm thinking this guy must be a part of our family. Why is she crying? So I asked her, did I miss something? Who is this person? And she educated me about Martin Luther King. Dr. Grant, man, you said that's good preaching, Doc. I'm joining your church, man.
Thank you, sir.
Year after year after year, we keep singing, "We Shall Overcome." I don't sing that song. When are we going to overcome? When is our mindset going to change and understand the sacrifice that this man made? The sacrifice his family made. The sacrifice his wife made. That we could live in this country as some form of dignity. So I think what we have to do is continue to push forward what the dream is, and that dreams can become reality. So I hope and pray that this year and the day after King's birthday, that some platform is put together in each church so we can teach our children that we're still fighting. The dream has not been realized. We still have much, much work to do. As a matter of fact, I read something yesterday that asked a question that did Mr. Trump cancel Martin Luther King Day? Tragic.
Wow. Wow. Anybody else?
All I can think of right now, Bishop, is Brill Cream, a little dab will do you. They'll never get rid of us. They'll never get rid of our history. I was just looking at something and I realized I was 23 when Martin Luther King was killed. So I was home with a 2-year-old baby here in Eastern Long Island. But I remember that old saying, I remember mama. My mom grew up in New York City with the Nicholas brothers and everybody else that we've seen on screen. And she used to talk about them all the time. And she talked about them till they seem almost alive to me to this day. So we need to keep talking. We need to keep the dialogue going. We need to keep the memories going because our children are us. We're all inquisitive human beings. And the more we ask and the more we teach them, they're going to ask questions. They may even have defenses. On the other side, as I was growing and when I wanted to learn more about Martin Luther King, I remember I watched the movies. I did not like a lot of the things I saw in the movies. But theologically speaking, it let me know that he was as human as anybody else. He was human, he had flaws, but he had purpose. That taught me that all of us have extreme purpose and we need to live that out. And then I remember, Bishop, you saying, I think it was a couple of years ago, that when Martin Luther King stood and did the I Have a Dream speech, he was only supposed to be on that platform, chosen last, for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and yet tore down the house. Our purpose, whatever we have, stands. And just, to out of nowhere and nothing, what comes to my peculiar brain, there's this young man on Facebook, and I love seeing what he has to say. And what he said yesterday made me smile so much because it reminded me of Martin Luther King in a sense. He said, Moses got his name, which means drawn out of the water. Your name that you get is your purpose. God will lead you to your purpose one way or the other because it led him to opening waterways for many that he could lead people out to freedom. And we have to continue to tell the stories. We have to continue to do it. Kids are interested. My oldest grandson, Grandma, I'm just a friendly black kid. I'm good. Until he got stopped by the police with his coach in the car, wearing a suit jacket and a basketball team game, and was asked, why do you have all that water in the car? And he just looked at the officer and said, because I drink a lot of water. And with that, the officer wanted to pull him out of the car. After that, he understood when Grandma said, keep driving. Do not, when you're someplace is unfriendly, don't act like you can stop and get a glass of water. You wait till the next pit stop and you get out there and guard yourself and teach them how to protect themselves and teach them what to expect. I was brought up in Eastern Long Island. I knew nothing, but I will tell anybody everywhere the same as I was taught. You got to look, you got to listen, and you got to be able to be open to learn. Because if you're not, it could cost you more than you're ready to lose. And you don't lay things on the table you're not ready to lose. We have to teach that to our young people. I was 23. I was 21 when I went to, in the Museum of Black History, there's a I don't want to say statue, there's a portrayal, more or less, of this incident that happened that my mom had told me about. And I cried bitterly. I was pregnant with my oldest child. And that's when that young girl in, I forget where, down south, these three melanemic men, came up. She was about to deliver her baby. They hung her upside down, cut her stomach open, that the baby hit the ground, and then sewed up cats in her belly and took bets on which one would come out first. That can never happen again. I cry about that to this day. So if they don't understand what extreme prejudice can do, we have to teach them. I grew up here, but it happened to me there because I am a person of color, no matter how anybody may look at it. It doesn't matter. We have to teach our children on a continuum, however we figure out to do it.
Amen. Amen.
So the Black church has been the forerunner for the last over 100 years to teach our history. And we cannot afford to stop now because
Amen.
we have a generation that had no idea who the king was, what he had given to this world. And we got to remind them the Black church got to keep on reminding our people the importance of our history. Dr. Grant was right? Our history is so important, our heritage, and teach them hope. In spite of what's going on today in our world, we was people created by God with a purpose to be something special. And to this day, most other nationality are fearful of who we are. So our history that the king have given so much to this country, not just for us, only for all people. And that's why they are intimidated not to give our history to the world. But the Black church has always been a forerunner to make sure that it's given out. It's been said already, without history, we don't know where we're going.
Ah, so true, so true. Listen, we have but a few minutes left in our hour today, but I will confess to you that one of the items that frustrates me to a great degree is the twisting and the mischaracterization of Dr. King's word. I find it almost comical that the mega world of today wants to use the words of Dr. King more specifically. I have a dream that one day my four little children will live in a country where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And the conservative wing of our society and republic has taken those words to take down and to reduce affirmative action and to argue that a set aside program and any item that gives our people any semblance of advantage based upon color is in opposition and is the antithesis of Dr. King. They want to pretend that we have reached the day where the dream of Dr. King has been fulfilled and that race and color ought no longer be a factor in the consideration of leveling the playing field here in America. And I just want to kind of open this up to your political commentary on how the sinister, evil, dark forces in this country have taken the heralded words of Dr. King and tried to use them against the very people that he was speaking for. Anybody?
He can't do it. No matter what they do, it is what it is. And those are some of my favorite words. It is what it is. When they start paying us the same salaries, giving us the same jobs, giving us the same open opportunities, treating our children the same in and out of class, teaching them the same, no matter where they come from, and giving them the same benefits, then they can talk to me. Until then, they have nothing to say.
I was telling my baby boy yesterday, we were having a discussion and explaining to him that the anger and frustration that comes from our counterparts on the other side of the aisle, first of all, the lies are being perpetuated. So you have young people now who are believing and having that ignorant mindset because it has been passed down through generations, but trying to get my son to understand that affirmative action was not we're going to allow a certain amount of slots for people who don't qualify.
That's right. That's right.
It was to protect us so that we would not be eliminated because of our melanation. But it has been flipped. The same with the non-truth of we're the ones who are on welfare. That wasn't created for us, and we've never been the majority to receive it. Everything is taken, is stolen. The things that we have done. What I've decided to do this year for Black History Month is a 28-day series, something just brief and succinct on social media about the brilliance of Black innovation and all of the conveniences that we enjoy that have been taken from us that were invented by us. the credit, all of the credit, everything that shows our contribution, because that's something that young whites believe is everything here we've done, we've built. If we weren't in this country, it would still be primitive. All of that nonsense, because the history is the attempt of the history to be negated. And so all we can do is to continue to speak the truth and know who we are, and to continue to move forward based on that, as opposed to fear and what others say about us. So I get upset when I see the people, and when I say this generation, we've got some older people who have lost their minds, who are trying to hold on to their youth. No, mother, you're 90. Take off the mini skirts. Stop it. And so that's a real thing, y'all. It's
Yes,
a
it
real
is.
thing.
Yes, it is.
And I find it to be embarrassing. And also, it breaks my heart to know the ancestors whose blood is in us. We carry their DNA. They're not just some people from back in the day. They're in our DNA. They are alive in us. And to just desecrate and disregard their struggle to get us to where we are, and to in our, it's not that the law, the political arena has taken us backwards. We are taking ourselves backwards by our lack of respect for ourselves and for our people and for our elders. This country hates older people, the only country in the world that despises older people, just the disrespect that we bring on ourselves. And so sometimes it's beating a dead horse. Sometimes they don't want to hear it, but we have to be strong and don't throw in the towel and don't give up. Grab the babies and teach it to them, because those who are older don't want to hear it.
Wow.
And Bishop,
Yes,
in
sir.
response also to what you brought up about rule changing, modifying, I I'm born in Brooklyn, grew up there. We had games that we played on the street, and they had rules. And it wasn't surprising at any given time where somebody could not make the mark or whatever it was, and they yell slipsies. You remember that? And
Yeah.
that was designed to change the rule. You only get 2 shots or whatever, slipsies. So now I can get 3. Now, if you look at the historically, the adversary uses that also to our detriment. Even using the Bible back in the days of slavery, we were religious people, and they would play on that, and we couldn't read. So I'll tell you what it says. It says, "Slaves,
Yes.
obey your
Obey your
master."
master. Yep.
And then we grew up with this, the idea that the suffering saint syndrome was a prerequisite to heaven.
Yeah.
And I remember back in the day, older saints would, how you do? Oh, Lord, have mercy. It's hard out here, I tell you, but I'm going to make it in. Okay. So a lot of us grew up with that. So now they're doing the same thing. They're changing the rules. And they can do that because they are making the laws. And we, as a people, were responsible in large part for putting many of the people there that will make laws to our detriment.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to look at that also. That gets back almost to people saying religion and politics don't mix. Well, we need to get a hold of that, because each of our members have a vote, and that vote can make a big difference on who's going to put out legislation, like what's happening right now, to our
Exactly.
detriment. So we need to look at that from inside. And of course, the younger people, they don't know, and some of them don't care, the apathetic community that we have, but we need to take time to teach them, because if they don't learn, it's going to be even spiraling down worse.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Bishop.
Yes, sir.
Oh, one of the key areas for our people that even though we have disadvantage, we still learn to overcome in spite of our disadvantage.
Okay.
And in other cultures, Jewish cultures, they teach their history. The family teach it, the schools teach it, the synagogue teach it. In our culture, sometimes the home may teach it, the black church teach it, but our school system don't teach what we teach from our churches. So even though we have a disadvantage, we got to keep on telling our people that we shall overcome every disadvantage that the system don't allow us to share with our people. Because our children go to school every day, the school don't share with them what we teach in our churches. So
True.
there's a conflict. It's called confusion. And they want our young people to develop a confused mind. So therefore, they don't want to deal with it at all. But we're going to keep on reminding them how important, what it means to us, where we come from, where we're going.
What I
That's
hear you
good.
saying,
That's
kind
good.
of, Bishop Willie, is it's not just the teaching it. They don't just teach it, they live it. That's the part that we forget. We may teach it, but then we step back and expect it just to happen. We have to live it. And that's biblical as it gets.
And we have to broaden our education beyond the typical 4 or 5 people that are in the books and whose name you hear throughout February. We have contributed so much more, and we appreciate George Washington Carver and Sojourner Truth and the usual suspects, they would say. We appreciate their contributions, but so much more has been done before and after that time. And so we have to educate ourselves and learn more so that we can teach more.
That's good. Rich.
I have been upset with the black church for years. So Bishop, really thank you for what you're doing right now with your jurisdiction. Thank you, because I'm watching. I've been mad for a long time because I couldn't understand why our people couldn't put our dollars together. Didn't understand why we don't have a supermarket. I could not figure out for a long time why we could not do what we do. Till I got it. It's called entertainment. The world has dangled things in front of us. I watched a 12-year-old boy playing a video game with his 60-year-old uncle. The 12-year-old is arguing with his uncle about his turn to play his own game. The 60-year-old uncle was so fascinated with entertainment, it's almost like, well, I didn't have these toys when I was young, so let me indulge now. And America has put us to sleep with this entertainment. So as Bishop Willie, you had someone preaching for you a few weeks ago, and this is what he said. If we don't turn away from foolishness, we'll never be intelligent.
Right.
That was a major preacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I was upset. Why isn't my pastor telling me about buying a house? Why is my pastor not telling me about entrepreneurship? So one of my mentors in New York, Dr. Floyd Flake, he said, Hayward, tell your people stop buying cars and turn that car payment into a mortgage. Tell your people stop buying sneakers. Buy a pair of shoes that last longer than the sneakers. Because the sneakers are going to cause you to play. So why are we buying play clothes? Teach your people to be executives, even if they're not. Look the part. Teach your people to strive towards things that we have not been taught. That is why Allen Cathedral is the largest congregation in our Zion. Because he taught entrepreneurship and taught how to make ourselves better. If we do that, I think our people would understand what Dr. King been talking about all these years, because he's still speaking to us from the grave.
Monday morning, the black church put in the bank billions of dollars every Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we don't have nothing to show for it. Every Monday morning.
That's good. That's good.
Yep.
We lost our headquarters building in Philadelphia of greed. Sad. It's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. So I believe that we can collaborate together. So I talked to my oil vendor, and I want to know where you park your trucks and what they charge you. And he gave me his rental fee. I said, bring those trucks to Bethel for free. Now here's what you do. Whatever you pay for oil, I pay for oil. Deal? So now he parks his trucks rent free, and I pay what he pays for oil. So I said to the members, now this is what I need y'all to do. Everybody who has oil heat in your house, call this brother and remind him you go to Bethel Church. He's going to make money and you're going to benefit as well. If we can collaborate like that, it's a win-win situation.
Yep.
Pastor Hayward, I think the problem with that, and you are so right, is there's something in our culture where we always want to be one up. The battle is I can't partner with you because who's going to be in charge? Who's going to get the credit? And that really holds us back in our community. Who's the biggest, the baddest, and the best?
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
It all spells greed, though. No matter what we do, it spells greed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're still talking about, who do we serve, God or Mammon? And I'm still not sure that everybody knows what that means. I'm not ashamed to say I found out about 10 years ago what it really means. All my life, I went to church. And it was, no, serve God or Mammon. I said, of course, I'm going to serve God. I'll never serve man. He's not worth it to me. Not understanding the Hebrew that went with it. As much class and school as I've had, that one little thing was left out somewhere. Now that I know, I'm dangerous. I am armed and dangerous.
Well, listen, friends, for the last hour, you've been listening to and watching the Weekly Clergy Roundtable. Let me thank Overseer Diane Seaman, Bishop Walter Willie, Pastor Ronald Grant, Pastor Keith Hayward, and Dr. Stephanie Stratford for their contribution to our conversation. Listen, tell a neighbor, tell a friend each and every week that the Weekly Clergy Roundtable is on the air. It is our endeavor, our hope, our objective, our goal to speak on topics that are relevant to where you are today. Until next time, go in peace, go in love, go in joy, and go in happiness. For the author, peace, love, joy, and happiness most certainly goes with